For those of you that don't know what happened today, Miley Cyrus, formerly known as Hannah Montana, her little sister. For those of you that are right there going, wait a second, Hannah Montana had a little sister? Miley Cyrus's little sister? You are literally me. I don't know everything, but I have learned today that Miley Cyrus has a little sister. And the best that I can gather, her name is Noah Cyrus. And her Instagram page, I just want to throw it in the shower. Everything about it, my reaction is I just want to throw that, her person, everything she represents in the shower. That's just me, because I live a different life than these celebrity Hollywood type people who are all trying to be so deep and subversive and are promoting, sex and drugs and rock and roll to show people how deep and complicated they are. So we have another girl who grew up with absolutely everything, which is the exact opposite of me. This is how all of these Hollywood types are. She grew up in the house of Billy Ray Cyrus. By the way, Billy Ray, Tish Cyrus look like lovely people from everything I can see. Their children are a bit more complicated, but I have nothing bad to say about it. They don't look like a horrible set of parents to have. Obviously gave their kids everything they ever wanted. They had money, and these are the kind of kids that call up mom and, oh, what do you want to be? I want to be a singer. Okay, let me get you a job at Disney, and now you get to have a show. What do you want to be, Noah? Oh, I want to be a singer. Okay, here, let me hook you up to a bunch of producers, and you can just be whoever you want to be in life, because we are remarkably rich and remarkably privileged. Exact opposite of how I grew up in my circumstances, for those of you that follow me. Some of us had to work. Some of our parents didn't have any access to any means, didn't have any money. But these people, Harry Styles being another example of this, by the way. And I will say this is where she decided to jump in on the Harry Styles non-feud. I call it a non-feud because at the end of the day, Harry Styles and I respected each other. There was no reason for either one of us to speak out of each other's names. He did not refer to me in any sexist or racist or misogynist terms. I did not need to use any slurs to make my point that I don't think men wearing dresses is masculine. I stand by that. I'm never going to change that opinion. Men who wear dresses do not look masculine. I believe in gender roles. I believe in gender identity. Since the beginning of time, men and women have dressed differently. And I'm comfortable with that. If Harry Styles wants to wear a dress, he's certainly welcome to. He wore that dress because he wanted to invite a conversation about men wearing dresses. And I had a right to respond and say, I don't think it's manly, and I think that we are increasingly encouraging men to act like women. Again, kept it respectful. I guess little Noah Cyrus saw this, little privileged Noah Cyrus, but if you look at her page, she looks very underprivileged. She wants you to buy into the underprivilege of her page on Instagram. She posts George Floyd and Breonna Taylor. She's super woke to the causes around her, smoking a joint. She really wants you to understand the struggle of being wealthy, a wealthy elitist, and how deep and dark it can be when you have everything handed to you. So she's just trying to actively destroy her life because it's perfect, right? She sees this conversation going back and forth and decides to jump into it and referred to me as a nappy ass hoe. Oh, okay. I guess because I don't agree with the perversion of Hollywood, because I don't agree with the way people like her are driving our young kids. People like her and other privileged people are driving our kids towards perversions, and it's not about diversity, it's about perversity. As I said before, she decided to throw in Candace is, I guess I'm a nappy asshole who's jealous of the fact that Harry Styles looks better than me in a dress. Okay, besides the fact that it is just such an immature statement to even say, just think about the fact that we continually hand these white privileged liberals an excuse and the permission to attack people. They're allowed to be racist as long as they're racist to the right kind of black person, right? So I'm a black conservative. I believe in values. I believe in family. I believe in men and acting like men, women acting like women. I believe, in the church. I believe in the Bible, and I believe in having a faith. And I, believe in rearing children in a very different direction than Hollywood is trying to currently rear them in. Who is giving these white liberals permission to go around using slurs and saying this sort of stuff when they disagree with the black conservative who doesn't hold their privileged worldview? I'm glad that Noah Cyrus can wake up and pick a career, right? Decide what she wants to do for a living. But the majority of Americans can't do that. The majority of Americans don't get to put on pretty ball gowns and go on the cover of Vogue and make people think that they're so deep and complicated. Harry Styles, another person who grew up with money, parents that worked in finance. He's been very open about his privilege. And again, I will say, above and beyond, Harry Styles did not say anything rude back to me. He did a tongue-in-cheek photo back, which I think is totally fine and keeps the conversation going. But the point is that you have a bunch of remarkably privileged people who suddenly feel the permission to dismiss the comments and the opinions of people that don't come from the same backgrounds as them. Hollywood actually does view themselves as elite, that they have this elitist opinion that they're moving the world forward when they don't even understand what the world is because they haven't built anything in their world, right? These people are people that were handed everything by their parents. They don't know what a day of hard work is like. They are out of touch with the American people. They're upset about the expression, bring back manly men, because they've never seen what a day of hard work is done by a manly man. They don't know what it's like to have parents that have sacrificed everything for their children, to give their children one opportunity to walk through the door. And when those kids get that one opportunity to walk through the door, they're not going to be wearing a Dior ball gown. People that have to play by a different set of rules. It's great. I'm so glad that Harry has enough privilege that he gets to put a banana in his mouth and pretend he's giving fellatio to another man for the sake of shock culture and getting applauded by a bunch of other millionaires in Hollywood. That's not the way the average person lives, and the average person cannot relate to that. The average person understands that is no way, that is no direction, again, to rear children in. I think it's great that Noah Cyrus thing. You don't look happy, right? So I appreciate that you decided to give an apology, a weak apology, by saying you didn't know what the word nappy meant once people started telling you that there was obviously racist undertones to what you said. And you could have had the spine to actually apologize to me directly. You obviously know what nappy means, okay? No one had to give you a history of what the word nappy means. You meant it directed at me. You meant it to me because I'm Black. And at the end of the day, I was just pointing out the irony, because if any white conservative had ever come out of their mouth, a white conservative had turned around and called a Black liberal nappy, they would have been canceled yesterday. They would have had everything taken from them, and their entire careers would have been over forever. But again, because you are privileged, you get some sort of a pass. And at the end of the day, if you're legitimately sorry, I forgive you. I'm not a person who believes in cancel culture, but I do believe that every element of what you represent needs to be canceled from culture. And I just wanted to use my platform to remind you, Noah, that I still do not think that men wearing $1,000 ball gowns on the cover of Vogue is an image that should be projected to society, and that those are not the kind of men that are going to be able to lead. And while I appreciate the talents that Harry Styles has, the point is that Hollywood spent today having Chris Pratt trend and asking for his cancellation. He was trending on Twitter because he goes to church and he has values and he respects his family, despite the fact that he's never spoken out on politics. This is the same Hollywood that applauded, Ellen Page for coming out and saying that going forward, she'd like to be called Elliot Page and she views herself as transgendered. And the same Hollywood that applauded Harry Styles for putting on a dress. So when morality somehow gets treated like a perversity, and when people that are going through various different struggles get put on a platform and applauded, there's something weird happening in Hollywood. And I speak out for people that understand that, and people that want a society that does not treat normal like it's a taboo, that does not treat society norms like it's a taboo. Again, I think everybody should live their life and do what makes them happy. But you didn't have to call me a nappy ass hoe, because I don't think men in dresses look masculine. That's common sense. They don't. Bring back manly men.